Learning today.
Leading tomorrow.
All right. Welcome to the July episode of the Learn and Lead podcast. I'm Greg Edinger, Superintendent at the Vanguard-Sentinel Career and Technology Centers.
And I'm Angie Morelock, Public Relations and Communications Director. We're so glad you're joining us for our July episode.
Right. This month, we're focusing on the powerful connections between workforce development and economic growth and how our local partnerships are helping prepare the region for the future.
While most of the team, they're still out enjoying summer break, having fun by the pool. We've invited 3 of our local economic development leaders to talk about the programs that we've built together, how we collaborate throughout the year for the success of our students and for the betterment of our business community. And we're going to get their insight about workforce development challenges that they see in their everyday.
Right, and we're just really looking forward to their insight on how important the power of career tech education is. And we'll share a top story, what's happening on all of our campuses this summer as it's just flying by. So with that, let's get started. All right, welcome back. As we said in our opening, we have 3 stellar guests with us here today that provide a great partnership with us in the workforce and a direct conduit with the partnerships and building our workforce with Vanguard-Sentinel. So if we would just start here, if you would introduce yourself and where you're from.
I'm Bryce Riggs. I am the president and CEO of the newly announced Seneca County Collaborative, which brings together business services, economic development, downtown development, tourism, all together under one roof.
All right.
I am Renee Smith. I am president of the Fostoria Economic Development Corporation and also the managing director of the Fostoria Learning Center.
Hi, I am Beth Hannum, executive director for the Sandusky County Economic Development Corporation.
So, well, go ahead, Angie.
Well, I was just going to say, it's awesome to have all of these 3 professionals in the room with us together here at the same time around the same table. We run into them often out in the community with different things, but we appreciate you guys coming in together and to chat with us this morning.
Right. And such an important partnership. Just to, we're all working on the same thing, trying to solve this workforce needs of our communities, and you all are the huge part of that. So if we just start with how you see that partnership and how have you partnered with Vanguard-Sentinel in the past, and then we'll start to build on those for the connections to the business industry partners.
I think the biggest thing for us, especially in Seneca County, is that we all work together to obviously help our business and industry partners, because when they're successful, we're successful, the community is successful, and Vanguard-Sentinel's always been there with us along the way. And so when we're out and about, with our business retention, expansion and visits, meeting with our companies, understanding their needs, it's really understanding what's important to them, what's really holding them back from growth. And through the years, I think there's been one consistent thing that, Vanguard-Sentinel's always been there, modifying their programs, creating programs that really help them get over the hump of, their challenges of growth. And I think that's the really exciting thing, is that when we come back and we talk to Angie, we talk to Greg, and we say, hey guys, when we hear from our partners, is that when they have challenges, Vanguard-Sentinel's always there to help us, really understand what are those needs, and then how do you, create those programs so then, the next wave of students that come through the programs, they're able to meet those needs and those challenges. And it's not just, obviously students, but it's the adult learning and it's everything in between.
Right. And that input is crucial for us to build our programs. If we don't have that input, then we don't know what direction we need to go either. So, Renee, how about you?
So from an economic development standpoint, the number one issue we still hear in our BR&E visits is workforce. And, we can handle incentivizing and working with the state on a lot of things if a company is growing, but workforce is not something that is in our wheelhouse, which is why we rely on our partners like Vanguard-Sentinel. You guys are helping us meet the needs of our local industries when it comes to their workforce needs. In Fostoria, we're a little unique because we have the Fostoria Learning Center. So our partnership with Vanguard looks a little different. We partner with you guys in-house on the Aspire program, the GED program, and then we have a new partnership directed towards the AIM construction and manufacturing industries. So we see firsthand every day the work you're doing on the Fostoria Learning Center campus.
Right. And we thank you so much, Renee, for that partnership of getting the AIM program in there. That happened quick. You guys opened the doors, but it did provide another opportunity for more students that wouldn't have taken advantage of Career Tech.
And we're
You know,
very excited to have you guys at the Foster Learning Center.
looking forward to that growth, 100%. Beth?
Yeah, Greg, Sandusky County Economic Development, we've had a long history with Vanguard, and I'm really proud to say, going into our 11th year of our Career Manufacturing Showcase, certainly that wouldn't have been possible without you guys around the table when that very first started. And then, to today, where you have your student ambassadors help the students, the freshmen are going through that program, get from one skill set to another, and then we also have the countywide high school job fair that we house at Vanguard, and that has grown a lot over the last couple of years. I think we're probably about 8 years into that, but it's programs like that you guys are such an asset to our organization. Your input, obviously the time that your staff and your students put into it really makes a difference to make them successful. And I'll echo Renee's words about the BR&E visits. The workforce development always comes up in conversation, whether they're in growth mode or having some issues at their facilities. So me being able to talk about Vanguard and the programs that you have and being able to work with the students that you have, we've seen some real successes through the years, and I'm just looking forward to continuing the partnership.
What type of response do you guys get from businesses when you're out on your business retention expansion visits and you start talking about us? Because I feel like a lot of people think that we're two separate sectors, right? There's education and then there's business. And you guys kind of help tie that in together. What type of response do you get from businesses? Are they surprised by that? Do they see you guys as a resource with that? Or talk a little bit about that.
I think the biggest thing is they see the students that come out of the programs, and they think it says a lot about an organization, about not really the building itself, but obviously what you produce. The students when they come in the door and what they look like when they walk out. And I think from our standpoint, the employers that we talk to that have students from Vanguard-Sentinel in their facilities, I think it says a lot, right? The proof is in the pudding about the work they do, the soft skills they have. And I think they're really impressed with just honestly what the students come out and with really how prepared they are. And I think, again, that's the big thing for us, is that not only are you coming up with the different programs and, the different initiatives, I think, that are kind of preparing for the future, but it's also, the students are coming out of these programs are prepared. You guys continue to grow your campuses, but, your quality hasn't changed. And that's been a big thing for us, is our employers really, their biggest challenge is workforce. So when they're not only able to get someone in the door, but they're able to retain them, they work hard, they do the right stuff, they have the skills, it's huge, and it's a game changer.
I think I've seen a big shift in the workforce aspect of things since COVID. Really, it might have been before that, but it became prominent in my mind during COVID and then after. For years, we really encourage kids to go to college, and there are so many kids that aren't interested in that. And I think for a long time there was a stigma around leaving high school and then going into the workforce. And I think Vanguard has played such a huge role, specifically in Sandusky and Seneca County, in helping reverse that stigma, because you are putting these kids in real work environments when they're with you, and then they're going into the workforce and they're excelling. And they're being offered jobs as soon as they get out of your programs. And to Bryce's point, these companies are retaining these students. And so I'm seeing in my visits, there's more calls for what you guys are providing here on campus.
Yeah, I think some of our strongest business partnerships with work placements are also your investors and your members and your organization. So I don't know if anybody has a specific success story or something that a local business has shared with them, but feel free to share that here with all of our listeners as well, because I think it's hard for people to understand. And part of that stigma, Renee, that you mentioned, is I think once parents understand the opportunities that we're providing and see that their students are getting great experience and education, and then it turns into a career that they can stay here in the community and be very successful at, that has made such a difference too. And that, I think, is a result of our business partnerships.
Yeah. And I promise to anybody listening, we did not give any keywords to anybody of what to say, but a couple that keep coming out of there is the the stigma and the quality. And as Ohio, I think as a whole, continues to talk about workforce training, and the more it gets kind of spread out, quality has to be a part of it. Because people can offer training programs, we can say we have a qualified workforce, but if quality isn't there, and I think we're just set back even further. So just talking about the success stories, but also when you talk about expansion and a company wants to come in, how does that discussion go out over education? Does it come up, or are they worried about it, and are they worried about the quality and the...
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, obviously, they're interested if there's a site or a building and infrastructure and all that, but workforce development is certainly, especially as you're moving further along the process, definitely is a topic of discussion. And they want to know, who the providers are, where can the workforce come from, what training programs are in place. So education is a big piece of what we talk about in economic development. And, I'll have to say, too, back to Angie's question about when we're out on BR&Es, business retention and expansion visits with the companies, if they haven't worked with Vanguard in the past, I certainly, especially if they're experiencing workforce issues, that is something that we promote, is talking with you guys and setting up that initial meeting. And I have to say, you're just a great partner because you're very responsive, always getting back to that employer. And I've seen a lot of relationships flourish through my 8 years here and that happening. And so, great job to you guys. Kudos to you guys for being so responsive and working with those employers and helping them find placements into their companies.
Right. So I know we can't hit every topic because I think we could talk for a long time, and I love this conversation. But just on your organizations as a whole, what are you all seeing in the future coming up in the workforce and even your organizations? What's on the horizon?
Yeah, I would say as far as seeing in the workforce, this is probably not a huge surprise because I think it all comes back to workforce, is automation, is just, we're seeing that in a lot of the manufacturing facilities, and that's going to do nothing but grow. So, just making sure that our educational, institutions like Vanguard are continuing down that path to have trained students in that area, I think is going to be important. And of course, when you talk to employers, I think they'll say to you, we want a person with a good attitude, somebody that will show up to work, that has communication skills. And, if they have technical skills on top of that, wow, let's clone that person and get them in here. Absolutely. So, and I know you guys, you really preach, I think, in your classes, the soft skills that are so important. And I think that will just continue to be important moving forward.
It's that character education piece.
Absolutely.
I think to touch on what Beth said too, just innovation as a whole, and I think that's why it's extremely important that the students coming out of Vanguard-Sentinel today, it's the critical thinking, right? The world's going to continue to evolve and change, whether it be 3D printing, whether it be robotics, whether it be, all types of innovation within these organizations. Even organizations 10 years ago, I'm not going to lie, said they'll never innovate or change their process, are changing their processes, which is great for them because, again, if they're able to be more efficient and effective, we all win. And I think it's ensuring the students of the future have the critical skills. They may not have the direct skills of working with a certain type of software or robotics or those kind of things, but they may have some general experience of working with some other programs. But just the ability to come out into the workforce, be ready to listen, show up to work, again, the soft skills is huge. And I think that's, really the next wave we're going to see is that we aren't really going to know everything, but it's just ensuring that the students that they come out are willing to learn and, step up when they need to.
I will say, in addition to what Beth and Bryce said, the only other thing I would add that we are starting to see a lot of questions on is AI. And what is that going to look like as we go through the next 5 to 10 years? And how do we adjust for all that is going to come with that AI revolution? So that's the only piece I would add to what they've said.
And we're going to talk a lot about that this fall even. We're trying to do a county-wide PD day, and we're trying to bring a AI specialist to talk. So We'll be talking to 3 of you too, if you want to partner on that
Of course.
topic. But that's a big one, absolutely. And just got to be careful with AI too. It's huge growth, but some scary pieces to it.
Absolutely.
And the big thing, it's a tool, right? And again, any tool can be used for good or for bad. It can make people lazy. And it's all about, again, how you use that tool to become, again, more efficient and effective. If you're able to do more with the tools that are available to you, great. But I think it's, again, education around proper use, and then also just awareness of, if you're going to use it, if you're, junk in, junk out, you got to ensure that what you're putting into it is, really going to get you the right result,
Right.
coming out the door.
Right. And use it for good,
Correct.
and not the other piece.
I think that's one of the benefits of career tech education is we've always been able to be very nimble and, our facilities and our equipment, our technology, of course, our business partnerships sharing what's important, that we've been able to kind of respond to those needs and as things come up. So no doubt we'll be tackling that as well. And as Greg said, we already are looking into it. And some of our programs are learning it. I know we went to a career fair it was in the spring, and Mr. Hellman, our CISS teacher, did a session with freshman boys about AI and how that works into different careers and how they can utilize it. So it will be a topic for future discussions, no doubt about that. Like Greg said, this conversation could go on and on. So, but we did have kind of a fun question that I thought we should ask.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
Can end with that.
we're pretending that we're giving all of our our stellar economic development professionals a magic wand. And so our question to you is, with this magic wand, if you could wave it and solve one workforce challenge with it overnight, it'll be fixed tomorrow morning when you wake up, what would it be?
I'll go first. Mine is to completely remove the stigma associated with a workforce development and these kids that are going directly into the workplace. We've made real progress, but we're not quite there yet, and I would like to see that completely eliminated.
They should be paid at the higher wage, right?
They should.
Because we can't live without them,
Yes.
right?
Well, I love that, but that may put me out of a job, Renee, so thank you.
I'm really sorry, Angie.
That's okay, that's okay. I'll figure something else out. Bryce, what about you?
This one's tough. I would say, honestly, just the soft skills, right? Like, I think for me, that's what's it's holding back our workforce today. And I think it's, the idea of a job versus a career. And I think, I see a lot of challenges with that. A lot of people show up for a job and, they clock in, clock out, which is fine. But I think it's the idea of maybe, caring a little more about the organization beyond just, what your portion of it is. And I think our biggest workforce challenge that we see is just, unfortunately, too many people show up and, they aren't committed to the cause. And then it hurts the company. So I think it's, if we could obviously solve that piece of just the buy-in, I think in the soft skills, it's going to be a game changer.
Don't solve that retention, right?
Correct.
I think that's a great one because the cost of employee turnover is so large to our community businesses. And how many times do we hear somebody say they showed up and left at noon, on their first day of training? So and that is those soft skills, that commitment, the responsibility type of it. So I like that one, Bryce.
Yes, and if I were to wave my magic wand, it would be something similar to Bryce. It would just be that everybody shows up for their job when they're supposed to show up. I mean, just think of how much money that saves the employer and time, and there's just so many things to go with it. But if I had a second wish, it would be like how to get more involvement with the parents in the K through 12, to get them more involved. So we're not relying on our teachers and guidance counselors and coaches relaying all the information, that they can be an active part of the process and engaging their student.
Yeah, that would solve a lot of problems. That's a good one.
I think it's the hard part, right? Is that the idea that, all these people want to help the student be successful, right? Student success is, what we're all looking for. And so I think it's hard if you're a guidance counselor, you're a principal, you're a teacher, you try to communicate the value of, career tech or these different pathways, but at the end of the day, it's hard to overcome, what they're hearing at home. So we try our best to obviously advocate and promote, but, when you can't get over the hump of the parent, it makes it much more difficult. So a lot of it's just, again, the awareness to the parents and, grandparents and family members that like, look, there is a perfect opportunity, and, obviously college isn't everything. It's a certain pathway for certain people. The military is a certain pathway for people as well. Career Tech's also another great pathway as well.
Yeah, and I think with your partnerships, that helps us spread the word. And we can't say thank you enough for all you guys do, for including us when you have challenges, to put us at the table and let us help solve some of the issues, or at least come up with some solutions and try. We appreciate that very much. So before we wind the segment down, is there anything that you guys feel our listeners need to know that we did not cover during the interview? Or we got it all?
I feel like you got a lot, but I'll just give another plug for Vanguard-Sentinel. You guys do a tremendous job, and I think every student should really think about what they want to do in the future and consider that as an option for them moving forward. It may not be for everybody, but it certainly does fit the bill for a lot of people. So thank you for the great work that you do.
And I would say, if you are a parent or a grandparent or a guardian listening and you have not been to one of the campuses, whether in Fremont or Tiffin, please take time to come on campus and see what these kids would be doing. This is not like it was when you were in school and you were doing shop class and things like that. It has evolved so much, and you really have to see it to believe it. And I echo Beth's sentiments. Thank you guys for your continued partnership with our organizations.
The only thing I'd add to that, Renee, is and also visit our new campus
the
and the
Foster
Learning Center
Center
as well, right?
The only thing I'd add that has been touched on is you guys have open houses. You have so many opportunities for parents and for people to come in and see what the work you're doing. I think, again, the proof is in the pudding. If you come in and you check out the facilities, you see the instructors, you see their interest in the students, I think it says a lot. So I would, highly encourage, when there's an open house opportunity, when there's an opportunity to stop in and see the facility in Tiffin, whether in Fremont, please do. Because I think, again, you may come in with this perception of, this isn't the path for my student, or this is where I think they should go. But I think once you come in, if they're interested, don't be hesitant. Don't, go to the student and say, hey, this maybe isn't the way you want to go. Really allow them to, step outside and really experience what Vanguard-Sentinel has to offer. But we want to thank, obviously, you for being great partners, and through the years with the Chamber, Economic Development, you guys have always been there along the way to help our business partners out, which is critical and huge for the county's future development, whether it be Seneca, Sandusky counties. You guys have played an instrumental part in that.
All right.
Awesome.
Well, we'd like to just thank you, obviously, for your time today, but your time every day that you're open to communication and partnership, and we're looking forward to all the growth that's still out there. That I think we can do so much more. So looking forward to it.
Yeah, thank you guys for being a voice and helping us amplify our story.
All right, what a great conversation we had with some great partners in our community. And I think it's important to note these relationships are so important, and they're ingrained into our Growth 2030 plan. In our plan, we have a couple building blocks. One is innovation. The second is partnerships. And those partnerships not only include, obviously, our economic development partners that we just had, but all of our elected officials, from our state senators to our state reps, who are just so supportive, with Representative Click, Senator Reineke, our county commissioners, our homeschool partners, all the superintendents, principals, teachers, all who support career tech education, our Board of Education, who are obviously supportive of the decisions we make and develop these policies to ensure student success. Our Chamber of Commerce partners as well, all the way from Ottawa County down to Wyandotte County.
Yeah, that's
right?
what I was just going to say. We obviously had Seneca County and Sandusky County represented today, but we serve many more communities, and Wyandotte County and Ottawa County are also part of our district as well. And I think it's just really important to make sure that people know we're not operating in a silo. Like, yes, we are an education sector, but we are so much more than that.
Yeah, absolutely. And you put it perfectly, that we're not a silo. And if we were, we could not have the success that we've achieved thus far. It's all of us together, and all the partners working together is what makes it work.
Yeah, and I feel like you had mentioned, we had to cut it short just in order to fit within the, time frame of the podcast. But certainly we could sit and talk with those guys all day long and hear all kinds of great stories about the things their organizations are doing, and then of course our collaborations with them. So it was a really great conversation.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So you want to move into a top story then?
Sure. The top stories this month, I'm just going to focus on, as we talked about last month with our building administration, that a lot goes on in the summer. And part of that is that education doesn't end in the summer as well. And we had quite a few students that were able to travel to different areas with national competitions that they earned, the rights to go there. And the first I would like to highlight is Educator Rising, who was in Florida for their national competition. We took 6 students down there under the direction of Kathy Thomas, our educator instructor down at Sentinel, and just does a phenomenal job with the students. They took 6 students down there, and all 6 students placed very high in there. And I'd just like to mention, their names is Liberty Hellman, who took first place in the Exploring Student Services. Maya Carrick took first place in Teacher Creative Materials. Kaylin England and Caroline Lewis, first place as a partnership in the Interactive Bulletin Board. And then Anna Jean Detterman and Lena Fetro took second place in Interactive Bulletin Board. So we rolled that competition, and those students represented Sentinel and Vanguard-Sentinel District as a whole to the highest regard.
Yeah, and they brought home medals, but they also brought home a lot of memories and opportunities. And some of those are younger students, so now they have aspirations to make it back to Educators Rising National. So just an all-around great experience for them.
Great, right? And you hit it on the head. They're just obviously they're learning their or portraying the skills that they've learned in the competition, but the interaction that they have with students from across the nation and the leadership skills that go along with that is something that you don't see in those awards.
Yeah.
So then we also have Skills USA as well. That was held in Atlanta in June, and just a number of students. And we had students ranging from collision repair, automotive refinishing, building maintenance, masonry, healthcare, and then technology as well. So very well represented. And again, our teachers and students did an outstanding job representing Vanguard-Sentinel. But we did have gold medals in automotive refinishing technology, which was Alec Windsor.
Yeah, that was his third time.
Yes,
so third time's
yes.
a charm. And I was also going to mention, so Alec Windsor and Liberty Heilman were 2 of our guests on the episode that we spoke about Career Tech.
Yes.
Our organizations, and they both had aspirations of winning nationals, and they did. If you have not listened to that episode, we invite you to go back, and it's kind of fun to hear it now, knowing that they won and all the hard work they put in.
Great point. I have to go back and listen to that as well. I do remember the conversation, and but to hear now their perspective, and they achieved their goal.
They did, yeah.
Without a doubt.
We're proud of them. We're proud of all of them.
Yes. And gold medal in building maintenance, which was Alexis Hensley, and that was under the direction of Linda Daniel. Great job instructor. And I should mention with Alec, it was Carl Roosh is the instructor.
Yes. Yep.
So did a great job training. Bronze medal in nurse assisting was Anaya Bell under instruction of Mary Green. And then we had a couple placers as well. 7th place with Javier Malat, so he made the podium in that top 10 with Carl Roosh as well. And then placing 12th out of our interactive application and video game development was Jeremiah Elbrechta and Eden Heminger, a team there under the instruction of Floyd Collins. And then masonry, Jahaim Stratton from Fremont, Ross as well from Building Trades competed. And I think it's important to note in these competitions, in Skills USA, I heard a stat that 1.5% of all the Skills USA, which is every state, of those membership students actually make it to nationals. So you kind of put that into perspective, and that's a highlight as well, that these students 100% earn their way to compete nationwide and represent Vanguard-Sentinel. So they're the top notch.
Elite.
Whether you won
Yeah.
or you even just make it there, you've achieved a lot of success. So thank you to all the students and instructors, administrators who helped prepare those students come. They just did a great job.
Awesome. Yeah, we're very proud of all of them. Great job, all. All right, it's time for our What's Happening segment.
All right, what's happening? Boy, we're just preparing for the opening of school. Here we are in July, and as we've already said, I think a couple times as the summer's flown by. But we have coming up, we have a great new group of staff joining Vanguard-Sentinel with our retirements and growth. It'll be a big class this year, so we're going to have a new staff picnic to welcome them in, and that'll be July 31st.
Yeah, we've started spotlighting them on our social media too. So if you do not follow us on Facebook and Instagram, we encourage you to like us and follow us because we're introducing all of the new staff, where they come from, what their background is, some fun facts that people are sharing. So we invite you to do that. We're going to have a lot of them. So,
Yes, we are.
I'm not sure that they'll happen every day, but it'll be a regular occurrence that we're going to be spotlighting new staff on our social media.
All right. Well, good. And we're just great to have them and spotlight them. They're going to bring a lot of new ideas to the table. And then we'll be kicking off our all staff. First day is August 14th. So then followed right by that will be students the following week. So we're preparing and ready to roll. And then in between that, we'll actually be having a ribbon cutting ceremony for our new Sentinel buildings that'll be opening this year with some new programs with HVAC, fire, EMT, and we'll be having that on August 5th with a lot of great guests. Lieutenant Governor Jim Tressel. We'll be having our County Commissioner Tony Paradiso will be talking. I know Representative Click will be there.
As well as Representative Reardon McLean as well will be on site.
And our board members, and hopefully we have a good representative of our staff, even though it's in the summer, but ready to cut that ribbon and start these new programs and welcome a whole new contingent of new students as well.
Yeah, I think we've talked about that construction before, and that was part of a grant that we received. And so the buildings are looking great, and we want to officially cut the ribbon before students walk through the doors as the first classes in those programs. So that will be it's going to be at 3 p.m. on August 5th. And we would love for the community to come out and be a part of that. We're going to work with the Chamber of Commerce there. Well, now the new Seneca Collaborative. I forgot the new name change. Bryce, who was with us earlier in this podcast, him and his team will be there helping us cut the ribbon and do the ceremonial types of things. So that it is an exciting time.
Well, with that, we'll wrap up. We definitely want to thank our guests for joining us today. Like we said, we could have talked all day long, but it is just always great and energizing to hear how our partnerships are directly supporting the growth and success of our local businesses.
Yeah, like I mentioned, it's fun to share and make sure we spread the word on how education and economic development go hand in hand. And we are certainly proud to play a role in helping build the workforce of today and tomorrow.
All right. And then also a big thank you to our listeners for tuning in. We'll have more episodes coming here in the future. We'll be celebrating our 40th anniversary of Sentinel this year, along with the ribbon cutting. So we might be focusing that, just a little teaser for our next episode that might have some special guests that have been part of Sentinel for 40 years.
Yeah, it's quite a tradition. So be sure to follow us on social media, stay connected. Don't miss our next episode coming up. And until then, we want you to keep leading the way and enjoy what's left of summer.
Learning today.
Leading tomorrow.